As custom cleats have grown in popularity, so has the desire for knowledge on how to create a pair. But with an increasingly large range of materials featured on different cleats, it can be a bit confusing on where to even begin, especially if you're used to painting your typical leather Air Forces or canvas Vans. The last thing you want is to spend a ton of time, money, and effort creating a pair and have your hard work cracked or chipped as soon as it hits the field, which is exactly what happened to me on my first few pairs of cleats. But today, after many years of trial and error, we've been able to work with some of the NFL's biggest stars.
Shout out to my guy Dylan, DeJesus, custom footwear. He's been getting me right for 5 years now.
And not only lace them up with a different pair for every game of the season.
Yeah.
Who was like a custom guy that you really rocked with?
His name, the company is called DeJesus Custom.
From Chicago?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
you
what's
know
up.
about it?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, they used to take
Shut
care
up, man.
But also create pairs that can successfully be worn over and over again. So in this video, I'm going to show you my complete prep process of how you can create a durable pair of custom cleats in under 1 hour that can withstand the beating they're bound to go through. Whether they're made to be worn on the baseball diamond by your favorite little leaguer or on Sundays by some of the NFL's all-pros. Okay, so for today, I'm gonna be painting a pair of these Nike Vapor Untouchable Pros. These are completely made up of a synthetic material along with a mesh and flywire system. This same synthetic and textile upper construction can be seen across many of Nike's other models. And being that it's quite rigid, you really need to rough it up a bit so that we can give the paint something to grab onto. You'll notice some of these cleats might feature a bit more fabric, which would mean you're in luck since these materials require no prep work. The only thing you'll need to do in order to paint them is add a fabric medium to your paint, such as Too Soft. Occasionally, you may run into a genuine leather pair of cleats, such as these Jordan 1s, but this is usually more commonly found among soccer cleats. And then unfortunately, every once in a while, you might stumble upon what has become one of my deepest, darkest nightmares, lineman cleats. These feature just about every type of material you can imagine. And quite often, those materials are stacked on top of one another or overlapping without any real separation. Paint is always going to adhere much less to plastics or rubbers of any types, so avoid these materials whenever possible. A lot of other cleats from Adidas might have a mesh upper with a TPU overlay, and these are also going to be far less durable in my opinion. So depending on which type of cleat you select, just know that you may need to slightly tamper expectations on how long they will last, as some materials are certainly more ideal than others. Either way, we're going to be following roughly the same prep process, which is truly the most important part when it comes to creating wearable art. I recently spoke with a few other industry pros, and here's what they had to say about that topic.
It's all in the prep work. Bad prep is like a bad foundation to a house. It's gonna come tumbling down.
Not every material's the same from brand to brand. Adidas has a different material than Nike. Everyone's different. And lastly, the better the prep, the better the longevity.
So clearly this is something we want to get right. All right, so first things first, we gotta get these unlaced and then move right into sanding. If you really want to save yourself some elbow grease, or if you plan on doing multiple cleats in the future, I highly recommend one of these Ryobi detail sanders. Then you'll need 3 different grits of sandpaper. I'll be using 400, 800, and 1500 grit. A lot of people ask where they can get the adhesive pads of sandpaper. But what I actually do is just trace the outline of my sander on the back of the full sheet, cut it out, and tape it down. Then we're going to start to sand all the areas of the cleat we plan to paint, which in this case is the entire upper. I've always championed against painting soles or cleat plates, especially if you're just starting out, but we might have something on this topic in the future. As a super rough estimate, this is going to take you roughly 5 minutes per cleat with each grit of sandpaper. Right away, you might notice, depending on the model, that the factory design is going to get scuffed up, and fear not, my friend, because that's how you know it's working. And just when you think you're done, keep in mind something my friend Anthony says.
And also pay extra close attention to where the cleat will see the most amount of wear and tear, such as the tips of the toes, the middle sides of the shoes where there's a lot of bending and creasing.
So make sure you spend a little bit of added time in some of those areas. After that, we'll wipe off some of the excess debris, and here's what your cleat might look like after our first pass of 400 grit sandpaper. Next, we're gonna switch over to 800 grit and repeat that same process, which should take about another 5 minutes for each cleat. And here you can see a little side-by-side comparison of what it looks like after just the first grit and then with the second grit. Now you might be thinking, how will I know if I've done enough yet? Is there a certain look or feeling I'm going for on the cleats? And it's hard to say since every cleat model and brand can be different, but as long as you know you're putting in the time and applying a fair bit of pressure, you can trust that you are heading in the right direction. It's now time to swap out for our last and finest grit of sandpaper, 1500, and we're right back to it. Something you'll also want to do is truly try to make sure you're hitting the cleat from every angle imaginable. Turn it upside down, spin it around and around, and make sure you're hitting every little nook and cranny. Now that we've completed all of our sanding, this is where things are going to start to get super messy, especially if you're working with a colored cleat such as this one, because this red is going to end up all over the place. For the next phase, we're going to need some Scotch-Brite pads, or you can use these Duragold scuff pads. Then we'll need some acetone to wet these pads with, and make sure you throw on a respirator if you haven't already. As soon as this combo hits the surface, you'll see some of that color or factory design is going to rub right off. You'll probably spend a similar time frame scuffing up this surface as you did with sanding each grit. Be prepared for things to get wild here, but we gotta make them ugly before we can make them pretty. Here's roughly how this cleat looks after a thorough round of scuffing with the Scotch-Brite pad. Next, we'll start to clean things up a bit as we transition into our cotton balls soaked in acetone. This is where we'll start to remove a lot of that excess color that came off and pick up any debris left behind from our sanding and scuffing stages. Unsurprisingly, this should take about an additional 5 minutes or so. And here we have a quick before and after we started any of the prep work to where we are now. You can think of this phase of the journey almost like an art piece in and of itself, since you'll constantly be questioning yourself throughout, am I doing enough here? But then when you see the before and after, it all starts to make much more sense. But we are not quite done just yet. It's time to get into our taping phase, and the two main ones I always recommend are ProTapes 795 crepe paper because it comes in these nice wide 3-inch rolls, and it contains a low adhesive that works great for leaving behind no adhesive on the soles. Then I like to use green Scotch 2060 tape for our main tape line around the sole and upper. You'll also need to tape off any areas of the upper you don't plan to paint depending on your cleat model. Next up, before we can begin our painting, we have a super important step that I wouldn't paint any cleats without, quite frankly, and that is applying adhesion promoter. Depending on the brand you're using, you might have slightly different instructions which you'll need to check out, but this Rustoleum brand suggests 2 light coats a few minutes apart, and then spraying your first coat of paint within the following 10 minutes. Now for the painting, I'll be using Angelus paints and applying them with a Badger Patriot 105 airbrush. I really think in general you can get a cleaner, smoother look with your paint using an airbrush over a paintbrush, but especially when it comes to working on cleats, which tend to have these tricky surfaces. Now on some of your early base coats, regardless of whatever color you are using some light grainer paint will really help cover up some of those spotty areas left behind from the prep process. And then to give this paint job a bit of a metallic sheen, I'll be mixing in some Angelus metallic silver to my red. It's quite subtle, but still a nice touch. Then I'll be using this killer animal/reptile skin stencil for this falcon theme. In order to make my logo really stand out and pop from the background, I wanted to add a cool tearing or ripping graphic behind it, which I've created as a free download for you guys to use also. Since we're working on this really curved portion of the cleat here, when you're applying the negative portion of the stencil, sometimes you might be better off cutting it into 2 parts and just sealing the overlap to work with the curves easier. Once we peel that back, we can then begin our multi-layer stencil process for the falcon. Lastly, you'll want to seal these up with a strong finisher such as the Angelus Matte 4-Coat, and now you're ready to hit the gridiron. So next time you're faced with the challenge of how to prep a cleat, you can be much more confident that you'll be able to create a lasting product capable of surviving all of the wear and tear they're going to go through. But if you're interested in learning more about that super complex multi-layer stencil process, be sure to check out this video next. Alright guys, everybody get out there and just create.